We all enter this life with different statuses and we have different amounts of money in the bank. But one thing that we all have in common is the number of hours that we have in a day. You've probably heard the sentiment that you have the same amount of time each day as Beyonce does or as Oprah does. And it's true. Whether it's you or someone who's making a world-changing impact, both of you have the same amount of hours every single day. The only difference is how you're using them. In today's video, I'm sharing with you 7 secrets that I use to get more done every single day. These are the things that have allowed me to run 3 different businesses and become a published author, all while I am being a mom to 2 little kids. My name is Gillian Perkins and I am an online business marketing strategist, and today I'm sharing with you 7 secrets I use to get more things done every single day. The first strategy is to use daily routines. Every morning I wake up and I have a set list of things that I do the same way every day. This allows me to get the most important things done and prioritize my day so that the whole rest of my day runs a lot more smoothly. My morning routine sets the tone for the rest of the day and allows me to be a lot more productive. It also saves me time that I would spend being indecisive trying to decide what to do next. Instead, I have a set list of things that I do every single day at the same time every day that I have decided ahead of time are the best use of my time. For example, every morning I wake up and I'm someone who likes to tackle my most important tasks first. So that's what I do. I sit down and I start working immediately. I just nail out that first task, whatever it is that is the most important thing for me to do. Now, it's not the same for everyone. Some people need to relax first or do something to center themselves, but for me, I really just like to jump into the work and it gives me a lot of energy for the rest of the day. But after that, I take some time for some self-care. I will do some exercise, meditate, read my Bible, or take some time to journal. Once that is out of the way, then my kids wake up and I am on to a day of mothering. And then when it comes around to evening, I have another routine. This involves setting priorities for the next day, tidying up my house, and some other things that prepare me for having the next day be the most successful that it can be. The exact routine that you choose isn't the important part here. What's important is that you have a ritual that you go through so that you can streamline your processes and get more done and focus on the things that are your highest priorities. My second secret for getting more done is something called batching. Now basically, this is a way of battling against multitasking. We all know that when we switch from task to task to task, we have to restart over and over again. You might be writing an email and then you stop to work on a blog post, and then you stop to have a client call, okay? And every time you switch activities, you have to take some time to restart yourself and to get into the groove of the new thing that you're gonna be doing. If you batch similar tasks together and do all of them at one time, then you don't have to restart over and over again and you can save a whole lot of time. So for example, on one day of the month, maybe you write all of the blog posts that you want to have on your blog, or maybe you film all of your videos. Then maybe on a different day you edit all of your videos. And every day, instead of checking your email 27 times, maybe you could just set aside 2 separate blocks to check your email and respond to a whole bunch of emails at one time. And that way you're not being interrupted over and over again throughout the day. This is the secret that allows me to run my main business in less than 15 hours a week, which is pretty impressive considering all that we get done. If you're interested in finding out exactly how I divide up that 15 hours each week and where my time is spent, check out the link down below. I have a blog post, it's called Batching How I Run My Business in 15 Hours a Week, and I go into all the details. My third secret for getting stuff done is to outsource the things that I am not the best at. Now, people have different perspectives on outsourcing. Some people hire a virtual assistant to do the more basic tasks, like maybe checking their emails or responding to customers, doing editing on their blog posts, things like that. And that can be a big time saver if you have some essential part of your business that you do. Whereas some people, such as me, are better at delegating tasks and running the whole show. My strong suit is in management. And so for me, it makes more sense to hire professionals who are really good at certain tasks in my business, like hiring a professional copywriter who can write really persuasive sales copy, or hiring a professional web designer. Even though I know how to design a website myself and have done it for myself many times and for a lot of other people, it still can save me a lot of time and I can get a better result if I hire a really high caliber web designer. So regardless of whether you want to outsource the more menial tasks in your business to just a simple assistant, or you want to hire out those tasks that you want someone who is truly an expert expert to do even better than you. Outsourcing is a great way to multiply your time and get a lot more done than you otherwise would be able to. And if you're thinking that your business isn't quite ready for outsourcing, or maybe you're thinking that you don't think you can afford to outsource that work, keep in mind that certain tasks, if you outsource them, it will actually allow your business to make more revenue. For example, that's why I hired a professional copywriter. I knew that if I hired someone who could write much more persuasively than I could, then we would be making a lot more sales, so I would be able to afford hiring that copywriter. My next secret for getting more done is to prioritize your tasks. There are so many things that you can fill your time up with, and a lot of them can seem really important. For example, I tend to spend way too much time just writing content and producing content, when in reality I know that my time would be better spent promoting that content and networking with other people who I can collaborate with on business projects to grow my audience and grow my reach. So identify those key tasks in your business that actually make your business grow, actually help you get more done, actually give you better results, not just the things that fill up your time. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, every evening I take some time to plan ahead for the next day. I look at my massive to-do list of all the things I could do, and I identify just a few key things that are the things that will make the biggest impact in my business immediately. Tip number 5 for getting more done is to develop systems or processes so that you can do tasks more efficiently. Instead of writing the same email over and over and over again to answer some simple questions, maybe you can create a frequently asked questions document that you can copy and paste answers to when your customers ask you questions. Or instead of handling every new customer differently, you can create a process that allows you to get all the information from them you need and establishes a timeline right from the start, so that they know what to expect and you do too. That way you'll spend a lot less time on back and forth communication in the future. You can also apply this to lots of other things, like cleaning your house or checking your email. When you create a system and you do things over and over again the same way, you get a similar result to if you had a routine. You become more efficient, you waste less time, you don't have to use so much brain energy to think about exactly what you're gonna do and how you're gonna do it and make those decisions. Decision fatigue is real, people. Tip number 6 is to plan ahead. Instead of just doing things on the fly and taking things as they hit you, you need to be proactive rather than reactive. Look ahead on your calendar. Decide when you're gonna launch a new product or when you're going to start a new advertising campaign. When are things gonna happen in your business, and how should your content and advertising complement those things? If you plan to launch a new product in June, then you need to work backwards from there so that everything will be ready to have a great launch. Work back from those big goals so that you can create a plan for being successful in those things. If you just think, one day I will write a book, then probably that's never gonna happen. But if you set a date, and you say, by December 31st, 2017, my book will be completely written, then you can work backwards and create a plan to get that book written by that date. My last strategy for getting more done is to make use of some awesome tools that are available these days. There are so many good free tools that you can find online that can help you get a lot more done and stay a lot more organized. Because really what it all comes down to is being organized and prioritizing correctly, right? If you've got things in order and you've got your priorities straight, you can get so much done. Here are a few of my favorite tools. The first one is called Trello, and this is a task management / list making app that you can find online. There's also a mobile app that you can get on Android or iOS, and basically this just allows you to create lists that are extremely organized and searchable. So you can make all these different lists, you can drag items around from one list to another, you can create lists that are processes, you can store information in these lists. So maybe you have a list that is blog post ideas and you can drag them around, and then you can click on each item on the list and you can look at the back of the card, the item on the list, and you can type things on it. So you could type your outline for your blog post, or you could attach pictures to it. You can also invite other people onto your team so that you can create a list of to-do tasks for someone else and then share that list with them so that they can see exactly what you need them to get done. You can even chat on your list and talk about how the project is going and what you need to do next. It's an amazing resource and there's so many different ways you can use it, and it's completely free. Another tool that I love is Evernote. Evernote is what saves me from drowning in a pile of scrap paper. I am a scribbler. I am writing notes all day, every day. I'm writing lists, I'm writing ideas, and I'm writing down systems that I want to use. I'm writing down down things I want to do in the future, and all of those little notes that I write to myself would just probably get lost or would get buried in a very thick notebook if it wasn't for Evernote. Evernote allows me to write everything down in one place, but very organized, and I can access it from my computer or from my phone, so I can write things down while I'm on the go, and then later when I have a thought and I'm like, I wrote something about that, I can just quickly search my notes and I can find exactly what I was thinking previously. And the last tool that I would recommend is to have a planner. Now, I've gone through phases where I used exclusively Google Calendar and other phases where I used exclusively a paper weekly planner. And I love both systems. Sometimes I use both even, but I tend to find that the paper planner works better for planning projects or to-do tasks. And the Google Calendar I prefer for scheduling appointments. So I might put my dentist appointment or a client appointment onto my calendar, whereas on the weekly planner, I might plan out all of the different steps that I need to take to write my next book. Whatever type of system you choose to use, I really encourage you to have some sort of calendar and not just a massive to-do list, because when you have a planner, you can write down those tasks that you want to get done on the planner so that you stop procrastinating them. When they're on a to-do list and you look at that to-do list and you see hundreds of things that you want to do, or maybe just a couple dozen if you're a little bit more reasonable and sane than I am, but you see all these tasks and then you just get overwhelmed and you think, oh, when am I ever going to get to all these things? And there's always something that's at the top of that list that's the most pressing, and so you never get to those other things that are very important but not quite as urgent. For example, if you wanted to write a book, that's not urgent. No one's gonna die if you don't write that book, but it is really important to you or to your business. Okay, it's gonna have an impact down the road. But by having a physical planner or a digital planner where you can write down those things, you can put them on specific days and you can schedule them in so that you actually make time for them when there's not something urgent going on. I really hope that you found all of these tips helpful. I encourage you to check out that blog post I mentioned where you can find out the tasks that I do and how I do them to run my main business in 15 hours or less per week. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I release a new video every single week about how to run an online business, how to be more productive, or how to live a more simple and better life. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next week.